So what's up to all my beautiful queens, divas of a more mature age? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel today. I am the Eva Monroe, and today we're going to talk about a somewhat touchy topic, right? We're going to talk about submission, and we're going to talk about actually if women over the age of 40 are still able to learn how to submit. Is it possible, or is it just too late? I wanted to talk about this because sometimes I like talking about stuff when I see it over and over and over again. And the thing that I see over and over and over again is about us sister girls and how we are not willing to cooperate. We couldn't spell submission if it was staring us dead in the face. And we're aggressive, we're masculine, and just, you know, straight up disrespectful and rude, right? This is what they say about us. Sometimes I feel like when we talk about things like this, I feel like it's important to talk about the place that it comes from as well, right? Because I like to call a thing, right? Now, today, we're not making any excuses for anyone, okay? Because once we all reach this certain point in our life, we are responsible for our own behavior, our own happiness, our own healing. There's power in healing. But we do need to talk about where this thing sometimes comes from and why it doesn't always come easy. And I'm going to talk about that today through my story, okay? And then I'm going to share why I could never submit, or why I was never able to submit to a man in the past, why I couldn't cooperate. I would say right now in my marriage, I am 87% in full cooperation mode. Well, I'm in 87% in cooperation. I tell you guys all the time, I'm a work in progress. He's still working on me. I have my moments. Ask my husband. But like I said, let's talk about where it came from for me, why it didn't come easy for me, because I believe that it's learned and then it's earned, right? I grew up with women, right? With majority women. I was actually 5 years old when my stepfather came into my mother's life. And prior to my stepfather, who my mother would later have 2 children by, my mother already had 4 children. There's 6 of us. My father, my biological father, I've told you guys this before, was away on vacation. So I grew up with my mother and my stepfather. And then when I was 12 years old, I would later meet my biological father. So my mother, when I was growing up, my mother was on public assistance, okay? And my stepfather was less than productive. He worked when he wanted to work. You know, my mother received public assistance, and that's how we lived. Everybody lived off my mother's public assistance. Now, back in the day that I grew up, we called it welfare or SRS. I don't know if they still call it SRS, but that's what we called it. Social Rehabilitation Services. Said to the black woman, if you're going to get a check and if you're going to get food stamps from us, from the government, you cannot have a man living in your house. And when they said that, oh, they meant it. I can remember them coming to our house and doing a check to make sure that there was no male living in the house. I remember this. I remember my mother used to pack up all my stepfather's stuff because she would know when they were coming most of the time, and put it in the garage or put it, you know, somewhere, take it to somebody else's house or something. And one time she forgot a pair of his shoes. They were in the hallway and the lady was doing the check And she saw the shoes and she said, well, whose shoes are those? And my mother said, oh, those are my cousin's shoes. And the lady was like, well, what do you do? Walk home barefoot? You know, the lady knew what time it was. But my mother, even being on public assistance, was the breadwinner in the house, right? And as I said, my stepfather was less than productive. And not only that, they both had a habit. They shared a habit, and y'all know what habits are. So when the time would come where we didn't have any food, we ran out of food because, you know, when people have a habit, some things take precedence over other things, like taking care of the kids and providing groceries and things like that. It was my mother who would go out and do what she had to do to make it happen. Okay, she would go to the soup kitchen, or she would go borrow money from people, or she would do whatever she had to do to make sure, you know, we could eat. And my stepfather, when she did that, my stepfather would eat as well. Okay, so my mother has 5 sisters. I had one married aunt when I was growing up. One married aunt. We're talking about 6 women, one of them married. But my married aunt was the BOSS in her HOUSE. She ran the show. She told her husband when to speak, when to sit down, when to stand up, what he could eat, what he couldn't eat. She ran the show, right? So all I see around me are women running the show and men missing. Okay? Everybody's man is missing. The so-and-so's daddy, we don't know who cousin so-and-so daddy is. Cousin so-and-so daddy is locked up for life. Cousin so-and-so daddy got killed. You know, men were absent all around me, right? So then I get to a point to where I can remember being 9 and 10 years old. I start having to take over a lot of the responsibilities in the house, cooking for my brothers, making sure that my brothers got up for school in the morning. My mother would pop up missing sometimes, you know, and my stepfather was less than productive. I can remember standing at the stove, frying pork chops and making gravy at 9 years old and, you know, feeding my brothers and doing all these things. So I never saw one man in a head of household position when I was growing up. Now, let's throw in the dirt bags that existed in my life because they matter, right? Dirt bags matter too. The men that I was surrounded with or surrounded by in my life, uncles, family friends, cousins, just men out on the streets, could never be trusted. I always found myself in some situation where there was some type of drama going on, some type of violation, some type of, you know, I didn't feel safe around men. I didn't feel like I could trust men. I didn't make this up in my head. You know, I didn't come into this world and see a man and just, no, this was given to me. Okay. This was instilled in me. This is what I saw. This is what I went through. This is what I was subjected to at a very young age. And so then I'm going to go out into the world. Now I have figured out my defense mechanisms, right? And I'm walking around like this, you know, and rightfully so, right? Only a fool could walk down a line with 5 people standing on each side, unprotected, uncovered. If 2 people punch you in the face when you walk down the line, eventually you're going to do this right here. Only a fool would not, right? So I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to protect myself by knowing how to take care of myself. I'm going to protect myself by never trusting anyone, living my life by the philosophy, you can't trust nobody. Don't trust nobody. That's rule number 2. Don't trust nobody. And then I have these this masculine behavior, right? All this masculine energy, because even my father, when I met my father told me, whatever you want to know how to do, whatever you want to do, learn how to do it for yourself. But he did tell me, but if you ever with a man, you get a man, you make him do everything for you. But you learn how to take care of yourself. And I learned how to take care of myself. And so I would get in relationships with guys, and they would be oftentimes attractive guys who didn't like to get their hands dirty, right? But I would do the dirty work in the relationship, okay? Toilet break, I fix it. I know how to fix a toilet, mow the lawn. I love to mow the lawn. It's great exercise. I mow the lawn. He doesn't like to mow the lawn. He is hot out. He doesn't go out. Change my tire. Well, he would rather call AAA or he would call tire service, but I can do it. I learned how to change a tire when I was in high school. Okay. And I think this is okay, right? Because I run the ish. That's who I am. I'm a boss. I'm a straight boss. And I think this is okay. This is okay behavior. Okay. I don't realize that my masculine energy can only attract men into my life who have feminine energy. Okay. Because no masculine man out there wants to see a woman laying down on the ground, taking her motorcycle apart, trying to change the oil. There's not a masculine man out there that really wants to see that. There's not a masculine man out there that wants to see a woman outside cutting the grass while he's sitting in the air conditioner drinking grape Kool-Aid. There's not a masculine man out there that wants to witness that. So I get married for the second time, okay? And let me tell you what, things started changing for me all along the way, but I had to learn some things about myself, and I had to learn and understand some things about my husband in the beginning of our marriage that were not easy for me to learn and understand. And I'm sure the things that he was learning and understanding about me were not easy for him as well. I am married to a very Southern man, but more so than that, I am married to a man who comes from another generation, a totally different generation. I know X, Y. I'm not sure what generation he is. Is he? He's not X. I don't know, y'all. Don't quote me on that. But y'all know my husband is 28 years older than myself, and he's Southern. He comes from the Delta, child. And he comes from a family where his mother took care of his father, but his father's sole responsibility was to go out and provide for the family and protect the family. Okay? But I just came from everything that I told y'all I came from, right? And my thing is, that's all you gonna do? You just gonna provide and shoot a burglar if they come up in here? I could provide for myself, and I got my own situation. I could shoot a burglar myself, that's all you gonna do? So there was a lot of learning that had to be done there. There was a lot of negotiating that had to be done. There was a lot of table talks and things, and that this is why I say negotiate your contract. But know and understand the person that you are dealing with, where they come from, what they've been through, what they think, feel, and believe in. This is uber important. Believe me when I tell you. So I say, okay, my husband says whatever goes on in this house is the woman's thing, is the woman's business. You paint this house fuchsia pink, every wall in it fuchsia pink, have purple sofas, but I don't care nothing about that. I'm going to make sure you got the money to do it. I'm going to protect you, love you, respect you. But I don't want to wash dishes. I don't want to cook food. I don't want to clean house. So I know a lot of women out there are like, he can clean up too. He can, and whatever agreement it is that you have in your house, as long as both parties agree to what everyone's role is in the house, then it is what it is. And that's how we do things here. My husband is he provides. He's the provider. And that I've also learned is his love language. That is how he feels he shows me that he loves me. He provides. He makes sure that every month when I sit down and write all them checks out that go to all them 90,000 different folks, not one of them ever bounces. He makes sure that I never have to worry about where anything is coming from, what's going on with what's going. We had a conversation one day and I said, we don't talk about money. Because in every relationship I was used to sitting down and saying, hey, this is this. We need to talk about this. Where is this coming from? What are we going to do with it? And my husband was like, what you want to talk about, girl? We don't need to talk about money. What you want to talk about? But that was what I was used to, So naturally we bumped heads many, many, many times until I started to see that when I simply gave my husband the utmost respect, not, bowing down every time he came in the room, not, succumbing to his every whim and fantasy, none of that type of stuff, but just speaking to him in a very respectful manner, making sure to never emasculate him, making sure I acknowledge him and say, oh my God, that's so wonderful. Thank you. You're amazing. Those are the things that he thrives off of in our marriage. Respect being first and foremost. I read this book many, many, many years ago, and it was called Love and Marriage. And I actually read this book in my first marriage, but unfortunately I did not get it until my second marriage. And in this book, it says that men thrive off of respect, women thrive off of love. And how I made sense of it was just thinking about how whenever you speak to a man and he's on his way out the door, he's like, I'm leaving my wife. I can't take it no more. And you ask him why? Most of the time, a man will say, because my wife does not respect me. You're almost never going to hear him say, because my wife doesn't love me. But if you ask a woman who's on her way out the door, she's going to leave her husband, she's sick and tired of him, why are you leaving your husband? She will say, because my husband does not love me. So when I realized that for him, it was about respect, acknowledgement, support. It could be small stuff with my husband too. I realized that one day I go to the grocery store, and most of the time, I get the groceries, I bring the groceries home, I put the groceries in the refrigerator. It is what it is. I get everything I know he likes to eat, his little wingdings and jujubes and all that type of stuff. And I put it up. I'm like, he knows it's there because he knows I'm going to get it, when I go to the store. My husband goes to the store and he brings the stuff in the house. And if I'm gone or if I'm downstairs in a totally different part of the house or way out back or whatever, and he spreads all the stuff out on the counter, right? And then as soon as I see him, he will say, you see, I got your peanut butter bars. I got you some yogurt. I got you 2 different kinds of yogurt, okay? And I got your nuts. I got you a big old thing of nuts this time because last time you ate all the nuts in 1 week, so I got you a big one. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Put the stuff away. And it dawned on me one day. I said, oh, okay, I get it. He's like, I got your yogurt. Oh my goodness, you got my yogurt. You remembered to get my yogurt. You're so wonderful. Thank you. Oh, you got me nuts too. You know, I cannot live without nuts. So I eat them like a chipmunk or a squirrel. That's what I snack on. He wants to be acknowledged. Okay, great. Oh, you're so wonderful. You're so amazing, right? So, but me, I realized about myself, in order for me to fall into submission, I needed to feel safe. I needed to feel like you ride for me 100% of the time. I needed to feel protected. I needed to feel respected. I needed to feel loved. All the things that I had never felt, previously. Trust was the biggest thing for me. I need to trust you. I need to trust that you are not going to do to me the things that people in my past have done to me. Because even with healing and all of the work, there are still triggers. I don't know if you guys saw when I talked to Dr. Watkins on live. We did the live show. And we talked about that. There are triggers. There's still triggers. I need to make sure you don't trigger me, and then if you do trigger me, I need to learn an appropriate way to deal with it and to let you know, right? And so men have to understand first and foremost that everybody is not worthy, I should say. Let's be very clear about that. Men have to understand how sometimes they give up their power by doing some of the things they do, behaving the way that they behave oftentimes, right? Like I talked about me attracting all these men with all this feminine energy, right? If you're not sitting in your masculinity, why would I submit to you? You behave as another woman would behave. I'm going to probably submit to you in the same way that I'm probably going to submit to another woman, and that ain't happening. Men need to realize this. Like I said, it's learned and then it's earned, right? It's learned and then it's earned. I talked about how I had this moment, and this has not been that long ago, that I had to check myself, and it was wow, it was powerful for me, because I realized that I took my husband to a place, I put him in a position that he never deserved to ever be put into, ever. We had an argument one day, and it was the worst argument that we had ever had. I'll be very honest about that. We don't argue much. If we do, it's about stupid stuff. I told you to dig the hole over here. I wanted to put the tree right here, but you went all the way. Stupid stuff, okay? I was going to do something for myself. And I said, I need to, and my husband said, no, I'm going to do it. Okay? I'm going to do that. I got it. And so time went on, and I said, hey, don't forget about me. He said, I'm not. Well, he just kept pushing it off until it got to that day where I was upset, because now I feel like you're disregarding my needs. This is something that I need. I'm having, I need this. I need you to take care of this for me. So he had a whole plan that he didn't share with me, and we got into an argument. And there came a moment in that argument where I felt disrespected. I felt like my feelings were being disregarded. And this thing came over me where I felt like he needed to feel what I was feeling and so much more. So I popped off on him, right? And when I say I popped off, I popped off. And he said, you will not speak to me that way. Look me dead in my eyes. And he's never been that firm with me ever. Never had to be, but you will not speak to me that way. And I said, I looked him in his eyes And that big old lion's mane, the Leo thing came out, and I said, or what? What you gonna do? No. I can laugh about it now, but I cried about it then. Because when that came out of my mouth, I looked at my husband's face, and there was a look of disgust, defeat, disrespect, hurt. And I was so ashamed of myself. I was like, oh my God, like I felt like the biggest coward ever. Like, how could you do this? Rewind, like take it back. Wait, no, never mind. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it. No, she wasn't ready. My husband comes from a place where he was constantly treated like less than the man that he was. He comes from that day, like way back in the day, you know, where the people were like, no, you call me sir, you're nothing, you know. How the hell dare me to ever put my husband in a position to feel like anything less than the man that he deserves to be treated like. I was so disgusted with myself about that. And I'm telling you, for days after that, I did some serious soul searching. I'm telling you, I did. Now, he did what I was asking him to do. But that was something that I had to immediately, I apologized, but the next day I had to come back again and say, hey, no, I don't know if you know how sorry I actually am. That shit, pardon my French, will never happen again. You know, but that was that thing where I was triggered because I feel like I can't rely on you. I feel like now I can't trust you. You're not keeping your word with me. You're disregarding my needs, and you've made me upset in this moment, and I gotta come for you. And I came, child. And it wasn't good, and it will never happen again. So when I say I still have my moments, I definitely still have my moments, but I'm 95% better than what I ever was previously. I've learned, for me, in this relationship, the submissive part of it all is simply about taking someone else's needs and consideration. I've learned that for me, for us, submission is simply about allowing him to lead, learning how to sit down and be quiet sometimes. Because when I started learning about myself and I started to peel away those ugly layers and see the truth about myself, I realized that I have to have someone in my life who can tell me, sit down, shut up. Sit your ass down. Maybe not, like that, but sometimes I need to be told, okay? And I have to have a man in my life who can say, hey, that's enough. Check your behavior. I got this. Because anything less than that, I'll just run all over the top of it. The man in my life has to have as much personality as I do, because I'm alpha all day. That's just the way this thing goes. And I need to be told sometimes. And the people in my life that I love and respect the most are the ones that get me told. Anyone who I have an amazing friendship with, an amazing relationship with in my life are the people that can tell me, you're wrong, be quiet. No. Go back and do that over again. And that is something that I had to learn about myself, that I need to be told sometimes, So at the end of the day, it is never too late to learn the power of submission and how important it is. And I have learned that it it changed my entire marriage once I just relinquished all control, and stopped being so controlling and stopped being so manly and just started saying, he got this. It's relaxing. It's comforting to not have to worry about certain things. I've been that person who has had to be in control of everything, never taken direction well, not wanting to listen, thinking that I could control it all. I've been that person before. But when I started learning how to submit and how to cooperate, things in my marriage just changed. They flip-flop. Things are just totally different now, because now I know that being that I trust my husband, I know that he has the ability to lead. He has earned that trust though. Okay? Let's be very clear about that. Okay? Because there are a lot of men thinking that, no matter what they're doing or what they ain't doing, you should be cooperating with them. But men got to know that they have to display these behaviors. Right? If you want to be treated like the man of the house, you're going to have to be the man of the house. You have to act like the man of the house. I've been involved in relationships before where men have called me and said, hey, what you think about this? Or hey, I want to do this. What you think about that? What do you think about it? Lead. We want to be led. We really do. We really do. There are very few of us that don't want to be led. But for the most part, we don't trust the process. And why don't we trust the process? I told you that in the beginning of the video. Why I didn't trust the process. And can you blame me? You can't blame me. And so honestly, I feel like it's never too late. It's never too late. Will you fall into cooperation or be as submissive as someone who has seen this and been a part of this all their lives? No. But it can be a situation where things will be easier and more tolerable for you and your spouse. And I also find that when that is your behavior and you are cooperating and you are able to sit in your femininity, well, you attract a different type of man to you. Try it out and see. Get back to me. Let me know how it goes. So thank you, ladies, so much for listening to me today. Until I see you again, be blessed and bye for now.